All right, so we are officially recording. And so the reason we're doing the Zoom call is a lot of people had questions about how are we overcoming our obstacles and what do we do when we kind of fall off the wagon, or how are we continuing to be consistent with our weight loss? I've gotten a lot of messages from challenge participants in the past and in the current one that we're kind of asking too, like, if I make a mistake during one meal, is it okay to continue? How do you continue for the rest of the day? And this was a big one for me because I used to, like, one meal, if I cheated, then I would just give up the rest of the day and I would just eat horrible the rest of the time. So we're going to go through these. One of our participants, Courtney, is having computer issues, so she's going to be chatting in. So I'm going to be reading her comments so she can add too. And then Cassie is also on the call. I feel like all three of us have been pretty consistent with our weight loss and have some good tips to share with you guys. So I kind of made just a quick my 5 do's and 5 don'ts. And so the first do is set goals. I'll kind of go through them, not in order, but set goals, all kinds of them. But then if you look under don't, it says don't set weight loss goals, which is conflicting information. I know. But the reason I put that on there is the biggest mistake that I used to make is I would say I want to be such and such a weight by such and such a date. And then if I didn't meet that goal, I would be very upset and disappointed with myself and feel guilty that I didn't accomplish that. And weight loss doesn't work that way. It's not on your schedule. So you can't say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds by the end of this month, because you don't know if you will. Your body might be adjusting to different things. So it's okay to set goals. Like, you can set goals for the kind of clothes you want to fit into, or maybe a size that you're going for. You definitely want to look up what is a healthy weight and size so that you know that your goal is realistic. What other things on goals, guys, do you have to offer?
I think it's just being realistic with it, to know that when you are setting whatever goal it may be, like maybe you start out a workout program and you can only get through 10 minutes. You know what? That's okay. 10 minutes is more than 0 minutes. And then just keep working towards a little more each time with each workout.
That's a great point, like those non-scale goals and victories too. Like,
I think the non-scale goals are so much more important than the scale victories, because you'll just see a huge difference and they're more rewarding, I feel like.
I do too, because I used to get obsessed with that, like weighing myself every day, and if I didn't lose weight, I would get emotionally upset, which for me, that was my trigger, which we'll talk about, but that was my trigger to eat more. So, Cassie, do you have access to what Courtney's chatting? Are you adding stuff, Courtney? Say yes or no? No? Okay. If you do, say yes, and I'll escape so I can see what you're adding. Okay. All right. Yeah, so set goals. You can set measurement goals. You can set goals, like Cassie, those non-scale victories. The second thing that I really wanted to talk, and that I stressed that really was important for me, is having a strong why. And I thought I had a strong why before, but I was wrong. Because once you have a strong enough why, there's nothing that's going to get in between what you want and your goal. So dig deep for your why. Everybody that knows me for 5 minutes knows that my why is my son, and it's been the strongest why. Like, there won't be stopping. Like, I'm gonna reach my goal. There is no doubt in my mind about it, that's what's gonna happen. And I had a lot of doubts before, like, what if I go back to doing this again? But one Sunday or a couple cookies, because I know this is something I shared with my team, then you start to have those thoughts again. But if your why is strong enough and your goals are written down and you visually see them, there's nothing that will stop you. So really, really dig deep for why is this important to you. Anything to add to that, ladies?
I think the thing I've always been enforcing lately too is just like, remember who's watching you, especially us with children. Your kids are watching and they notice, and my daughter cheers me on in my workouts as I'm doing them in the living room, and I think she just makes healthier choices as well, which I think is a huge factor. And it just makes me know that I am doing the right thing and I am going to keep going to reach my own goals. And even though I've hit a rocky spot there for a little while, I just know that now getting back on the train that I'll keep pushing through my plateau that I've hit and get through it and reach my ultimate goal. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, those things are so important, especially, and most of our team and most of our challengers are parents. So being that good role model and making them your reason why and not your excuse. Did you add anything, Courtney? Maybe. Okay. So the other one that I really wanted to stress was planning, preparing, and forming habits. So I talked about this a lot throughout my journey on Facebook too, but planning and prepping is the key to success. If you haven't planned your meals for the week, you're going to go to what you've always gone to. It's just because you're stressed and a lot of us are busy and you're just going to grab what you've always grabbed. So, and to begin with, that's different and that's a different habit. And so it makes it difficult. And so making sure that you plan and prep to form those habits. So for me, every Sunday night, or afternoon, I cut up all my veggies for the week. I pack my lunch for Monday. I usually, for Monday to get started, I do a crock pot recipe. So I set out everything that I'm going to need to throw in the crock pot Monday morning. And I put my crock pot liners in, which Cassie shared with me. And
best invention ever.
Now I have to wash my crock pot, which saves time too. But that helps because then I can just grab my lunch in the morning and I know that I'm going to have all those good foods right there and available to me. And so I try to have those quick, healthy foods to grab, like bananas, apples, carrots, things that might not take a lot of prep time, berries, grapes, trying to think of other things, Kind bars I usually have just in case I'm having a sweet tooth. I have some dark chocolate chips in the freezer too. Any other tips from you ladies as far as planning and prepping or
I have to admit I'm not great at planning. I am one who kind of does as convenient as possible, like whether it's just a grilled chicken breast with some steamed vegetables for dinner. Crock pot is definitely my best friend. I mean, I love that thing, but it's always me planning what to put in there. So I'm trying to get with my new job this next week is to kind of figure out my new routine and really like be better about the planning piece of it. Just because right now Sundays is usually been a big homework day for me, so it's not always. I'm home, but I don't have the time to sit there and do it. So it's just a matter of utilizing that crock pot and cooking up a bunch of chicken, or even just a bunch of chicken and vegetables, and being ready to roll for the week.
And I know Courtney says this a lot too, that she eats the same foods like every day.
I do too, yeah.
Similar ones. I do too. So I have my go-to. I do try to change it up every couple weeks, just so my body doesn't get used to it. And so I'm varying my nutrition. So maybe I'll have cucumbers and carrots one week, and then I'll have like peppers and celery the next week for my veggies. But I do try to have those ahead of time. And yeah, if you can keep chicken breast and like rice, like cook a bunch on Sunday, so you
I'm
have
a big stir fry girl. I like my stir fry. I make a big batch of that.
super easy. Just throw some frozen veggies, and that's my go-to fast food if I'm in a bunch in a hurry. So, anything to add, Courtney? Did you chat? Can you hear us, Courtney? I feel like her computer froze. All right. So number 4, it's funny because I said my 5 do's, but then I added a 6th one because Cassie brought up a great one. But number 4 is drinking Shakeology. If you don't have Shakeology yet, then I really recommend that you at least take a look at it. There is a sample package that you can get for about $30, and it'll give you at least an idea. It gives you a week's worth. But a lot of our bodies are nutrient deficient, which causes cravings and also impacts our energy and our motivation, because if we're tired, then we're not going to perform as well as if we're getting the nutrients we need. I could go on and on about this, but I didn't want to spend the whole time. But just knowing that nutrient piece is very important. So anything on that too?
I just know my Shakeology makes my day so much better.
I know, right? And it's like my dessert because I put peanut butter and bananas in it. It tastes like
Me too. Yeah. For me, it tastes like a McDonald's chocolate shake, and it helps get rid of that craving that I have because those used to be my device of unhealthiness. So
Yeah. And sometimes if I'm starting to feel depleted, I will have 2 or 3 in a day. And it does help to get my energy level back up because sometimes you are that depleted of nutrients, especially when you're doing the workouts too.
I do notice, like for some reason, like in the afternoons, I have a dip of energy. So I don't know like how to make that better.
Yeah, that might
Um, like my day will start out strong. Like I work out, I do my Shakeology, I'm like raring to go. And then come like 2, 3 o'clock, like
there's, and I know other people struggle with that too. Some people have their Shakeology at that time to help. Otherwise, like protein, energy type things are a good time to have that. So, trying to think like nuts, almonds. Um, if you have like the Kind bars is usually about that time that
what
I
what do you count the kind bars as?
I count it as 1 blue and 1 teaspoon is what Autumn had said in one of her frequently asked question videos. So it counts as a nut and a teaspoon because there's honey in it. So,
Sure. I'm just reading
uh,
Courtney's thing.
oh, are you good? What'd she say?
She's trying to power her laptop back on. She goes,
Oh.
she's ready to cry because it's not working.
Hmm. So number 5 is problem solving. So if you are struggling with something, like taking that time to problem solve. So for me, that 2 o'clock time in the afternoon was difficult, and I noticed that I was going to crave sweets actually at that time. So that's why I started packing the Kind bar. And I'll mix like peanuts and dark chocolate chips together and just put it in the little orange container that we got, the extra one that we get. And so sometimes that's enough to take at least the sweet craving away for the afternoon. So just taking those times, like if you see patterns, which kind of goes with yours, recognizing patterns that you're starting to fall off the wagon. So like if one Oreo leads to 3 Oreos, leads to a sundae, leads to a burger, like keeping track of that because knowing what triggers those things is important. For me, my trigger is stress. So when I get stressed at work, I have that thought that I want to go grab a burger from McDonald's. And then I quickly replace that thought with, okay, well, I packed a Kind bar or I packed my nuts with a little bit of dark chocolate chips in with it. And that's helpful to me. Do you want to share what you said, Cassie, as far as falling off the wagon and
Um,
personal triggers?
the biggest thing is just knowing that, okay, maybe you have a bad day or two, and then you're like, first off, don't beat yourself up over it. Second off, be like, why did I fall off? Like, if you had like 3 good weeks and then like maybe a bad week, like what happened that made it bad? Like, was it, not planning enough, or was it the kiddo got sick, or was it your work isn't going well? Just really recognizing your life things that are happening and what's making you not make healthy choices is the hugest thing. I mean, I for myself, I recognized when I got back in school, all of a sudden it was like I don't have time. I was hitting up a drive-through, and I'm like, whoa, like this is not okay. Like, it was fast and easy, but it was making me feel like crap. And I was like, okay, back to basics, Cassie. Like, get whether it's just doing hard-boiled eggs, a piece of chicken, like for my protein, just something simple. Getting a rotisserie chicken and just shredding that, like for the convenience aspect of it.
That's a great idea. Like the simplest way that you can make it is like if you have the time to make the meals, then go for it. But if you're super busy, going simple, that's a great way to get back on track.
Even
And,
just like a piece of fish or whatever, with some vegetables and
and be mindful, not just sleepwalking through your day. So being aware of when you're having those thoughts and when you're having these triggers and not just walking through your day and eating stuff, grabbing a handful of this or a thing of that or a bite of that, because all of that adds up and it will get you.
And I think especially for the ones who have other family members, thankfully for me, it's just me and my daughter right now. But they need to know your goals too, and to know that they can't have certain stuff around the house that they're used to having it, because that's going to make you want to have that kind of stuff so much more.
The
As
whole
long as I don't.
concept of willpower is a bad concept because it just doesn't it doesn't work. If it's in your house long enough, you're only going to have so much willpower. Eventually you're
Right.
going to go grab it. And there's nothing wrong with you sharing your goals with your family and wanting them to eat healthy too. If you're eating healthy and wanting to get healthy, why wouldn't they want to support you? And then why wouldn't you want, your kids to eat the healthy way that you're eating too? If you're doing the 21 day fix, which anybody watching this has probably at least had exposure to it or currently doing it, you'll know all those foods are kid friendly. Like you can make them kid friendly. You don't have to, the weight loss piece of it, like even Shakeology is kid friendly. So yeah, if you're eating healthy, then your family should be eating healthy too. It should be a family affair. One thing that my husband does is if he does have a sweet tooth and he's skinny, he's one of those people that can eat anything and stay skinny, but he'll put them on top of the fridge in the way back because he's super tall and I can't reach them and they're out of sight. And for me, out of sight is out of mind. So if your husband does want like an extra snack or something, have him put it somewhere where only he can get it, or that it's kind of out of sight. So
Right.
drink lots and lots of water. You're supposed to eat or drink half of your weight in water. So I weigh 246 pounds now. So I don't even know how much water that is. 123 ounces is what I would need to drink. So you take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should have. And I know if Courtney was on here, she would say make sure that you add 12 ounces for every 30 minutes of activity, like exercise program. So if you're doing Autumn's 21 day fix, her workouts are 30 minutes. So you'd want to add an additional 12 ounces to that. So, and then I just put my 5 don'ts. Don't set weight loss goals. Like I said, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Your body's going to lose weight naturally if you're eating and following the plan every day. So if you are following the 21 day fix as it's written, not cheating, not going off track, you're going to lose weight. Okay. It might not be as fast as you want to lose it. And it might be as fast as you want to lose it, but just be aware that you should be setting those non-scale victories too. Don't have cheat days or weeks. Like if you want to have a Sunday and you're really craving one, go have a Sunday, but it shouldn't be every single day. It's that 80-20, like 85-15. I hear all kinds of different percentages. The goal is majority of the time you should be eating healthy. So, and if you have a cheat meal or you go out to a nice dinner, that's okay. Just don't come back home and then veg out too. Like make sure that you're balancing that out the majority of the time you're eating healthy. Don't weigh yourself daily. The only sometimes it's okay to do if you're kind of curious like how different foods impacting or how your body gains or loses weight based on water or something like that, and you wanted to do it for a week or two just to kind of see how it fluctuates, you could, but don't do it in attempts to see it go down every time, because if you're weighing yourself daily, it's not going to go, the scale's not going to lose weight consistently every day. Your body's going to fluctuate up and down, especially as women, because we gain water weight and we have stress and we have all these other hormonal issues. So pick one day a week or even one every couple weeks that you're going to kind of weigh in and check on those things if that's important to you.
You'll become obsessed with the scale if you weigh yourself too much, honestly.
Yes,
It's
you
good
do.
to go by how your clothes fit and how,
And how you feel.
yep, how you feel.
And like holding, if you can hold the plank for a whole minute or do a push-up, or those things are like the big victories that then your body is gaining muscle and you are making progress. So
it's crazy now when I look back and I think I could barely do 2 push-ups before, and now I'm like up to like maybe anywhere. It varies each day just because like some days I'm a little stronger than others and I can maybe do 15 or maybe I can do 6 in one sitting, but it's still more than I used to be able to do. And
yeah, I can do burpees now. I never could do burpees before.
I
So
can only do those modified. I can't do a full-on burpee, but
I can do one full on burpee. I can
yay.
do several sumo burpees, like with your legs.
Right.
Don't beat yourself up and get guilty. This is the evil cycle, is you start something, you're doing really well, you expect perfection, and then obviously none of us are perfect, and you can't never eat pizza again. It's just not possible. So when you do, then you feel guilty, and then you go into the cycle of eating more and more and more, which Shakeology plays a big role in ending that cycle too, because your body's getting what it needs. But reality is, if you had the pizza, you had the pizza. Okay, that's fine. Next meal, you need to focus on something else. And the one thing I really like about 21 Day Fix is I'm focused on what I need to eat, not what I can't eat. So I have a lot of food I have to get in. And so I'm focused on, okay, I have to get 6 veggies and 6 proteins, and how am I going to get all of that in? And I'm so busy thinking about that I don't think about what I can't have. I just try to think about, I need to get all of this in today. And that kind
And the
of,
biggest thing too with like the other stuff, like if you have something that's maybe not so great, count it. Like me and
yes,
Rhonda were talking, like if you decide you're gonna have a brat, count the brat as a red and count the bun as yellow.
yes, yeah, I do that too.
Try to skip the bun altogether. You know what I mean? Like count it as something if you're gonna have it. Don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna have this on top of this. Like
Yes, yeah.
incorporate it with your plan if you're doing the 21 day fix.
And sometimes I even like, if I have an extra carb, I put it under the purple too, because really the purple and the yellow are the ones that you got to be careful of, because there's sugar and carbs. So sometimes if I have an extra carb, I'll take off an extra purple, or add it as a purple, because both of those impact your blood sugar levels. But, and try not to do that. I mean, if you do it once or twice, once every couple weeks or whatever, just do your best. And we always talk about progress, not perfection. You know, none of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but it's the habit of doing things for the majority of the time you're doing it and following the plan. And of course, don't quit. If you quit, then you're absolutely not going to meet your goals. We all know that. So problem solve, it goes back up to problem solving. So just some quick ideas, and Cassie, you could add some things that you do too. These are just some quick things that I do that I thought were helpful that I wanted to share. I cut up all my veggies on Sunday, so they're already cut and bagged. I carry water with me all the time. There's a thing, I can't do it. They're not letting me click on it. So I carry water all the time. And sorry, this thing popped up and it was bothering me. And use crockpot recipes, which we talked about. I pack lunch the night before. I always do. Like as soon as I walk in the door, I put baby Jordan down and I pack my lunch for the next day, because that way it's done. It's one less thing I have to do, and I know it's going to be ready to go. And I always make enough dinner the night before to pack for more for my lunch, and then I have all my snacks packed. And then you can always use Shakeology in a pinch, and then have grabbable good snacks like carrots, bananas, yogurt, Kind bars, things like that. Anything you want to add to that?
Nope. The biggest thing is that having that water bottle sitting next to you all day. I definitely know I drink a lot more water when I have my bottle sitting next to me, and then that planning is huge. I know that I fail if I don't plan enough, and you know whether and sometimes like if you can't do all your prepping on Sunday, I kind of break mine up into little parts during the week. Like
I
maybe
do
I'll
too.
do some of it Sunday, and then maybe do some on Wednesday or whatever the case may be.
The thing is loud. I did kind of make up so that you guys could see. I don't know if you can see there. So I cut up all my veggies for the week, and I put them on a little plate and set them in there. And then like this week we're going to have chicken noodle soup in the crock pot. So I cut up my veggies, my celery, and my carrots. And then I have my broth, because I cheated. And then I have my little go-to lunch bag. So I have the banana and cottage cheese in my red container. Some peanut butter. It doesn't really go in blue, people, but that's how I carry it. And some crackers, I get Triscuits, and cucumbers, Kind bar, a little Hershey bar. Probably shouldn't have that in there. I don't know how it got in there, actually. Celery, my little thing of peanuts with chocolate chips, and then an apple cut up. So that's kind of my snack, and then whatever we have for supper tonight, then I'll end up putting that in there too.
When you cut up your apple ahead of time, does it get icky or does it stay good?
Usually if I do it the night before, it's not too bad. There's a little bit of browning, but not horrible. You can put a little bit of lemon juice on it, and it'll keep it.
Keeps it fresher.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we got 7 minutes left. Any last thoughts, Cassie, as far as prepping?
No, I think we covered everything. And the biggest thing for everyone to understand is you just got to take it day to day. You know, it's not a marathon. You just got to kind of pace yourself and just, especially if you're not used to eating that much food, you know, take the first couple of days and work towards what you're supposed to. Like, I mean, when I first started, I would get to dinner and not be hungry. And I'm like, oh my God, I still have all this food I got to eat. How am I going to get all this in? And
yeah,
I was like, it was overwhelming at first. It was overwhelming where I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to quit. I'm like, no, Cassie, you made a commitment. You're going to get this done. And then 40 pounds later and being able to do all the things I can do now is, I look back, I wish I would have had this program 10 years ago when I went through my divorce. Like, I lost weight back then, but it wasn't the healthy way. I can promise you that. Like, I ate crap at Quick Trip when I worked there and it wasn't good stuff. If I would have had this, I think of how much just better I would have felt. And like, even though I would have still lost weight, I would have done it the right way. And I would have been curious to see how it would have changed back then.
Yes, I totally agree. And that ties back to the why and your motivation, making sure that you have that motivation written down and your goals written down. So I think that's it. So again, post your questions if we didn't answer something or you're struggling with something like how to get your containers in. I know that, is it Angela? Angela, is that your girl? Angela?
I think that's Liz's actually.
Liz, yeah, Liz Olson. She posts amazing meals, like the little meatloafs in the cupcake containers or whatever. Anyway, but we have some cool people to kind of resources and check in for different meal opportunities and stuff too. So, all right, if you have questions, let us know. Thanks.